Good morning, CAMCA. Good morning, world. Good morning, Bishkek. Yes, we are waiting. Come inside. Also, it would be good if you come closer, that we can just, it's maybe a hikmat, or it's comfortable for you there. It's good? Okay. So it's my pleasure today to introduce you my best friend, Tariq, who arrived specially for this CAMCA forum from Dubai.
Thank you very much, Nazira.
Yeah, just wait.
Yeah, sure.
So Tariq is a futurist. He talks about future, and today we prepared a special presentation for you. And I don't want to talk about him. I prepared a presentation that explain you about his background, and I would like our girls to ask to switch on.
They were designed for the 20th century and set up in the 20th century. So the 20th century companies are coming down, and the 21st century companies are going up.
To celebrate innovation, to celebrate research and development, to actually bring ideas and investments together.
We can solve the big challenges of the world. We can talk about poverty, healthcare, education, climate. AI can also help our businesses, our apps. It facilitates.
Tariq is an exceptional speaker, and I always participate in his presentations, and it's worth it. Why? Because you don't need to read 100 books. He can tell you within like 10, 20 minutes about the future trends. So also I would like to say more about his book, Voices of the Future, which was launched 2 weeks ago. And this book is about exceptional blend of insights from individuals actively shaping the landscape of tomorrow. And over a cup of coffee, he had chat with more than 110 leaders and with the brightest minds of our time, and he issued this book. So the floor is yours, and today we talk about not only about the future, but also about the future of CAMCA. And I expect that it's gonna be a very exciting presentation. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Nazira. Thank you very much, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It's a real privilege, pleasure, and I'm humbled to be here in this amazing group of people. And Nazira is very kind, and she's invited me to engage with you and to connect with you at a future level. So this is like a Netflix movie for the next 20-25 minutes. Just relax, enjoy, and I will take you on a journey with your permission.
And fasten your seatbelts.
This is a beautiful map behind us. It's 2,500 years old. And my topic today is leading from the future, learning from the future, because the future has sort of already happened in many, many places. It's just unevenly distributed. So today, I'm going to bring it down to where we are at this point in time. What is going on? Who changed that? Okay. Well, the future has happened faster than I thought. Something is changing completely. Even my future has been adjusted. Anyway, so as we look into the future, what we've got is everything has changed, but nothing has changed. In 2,500 years, you know, in the past we used to get silk and food and spices and so on. Today, it's technology, it's ideas, it's communication, it's other thoughts, food. And that's why I wanted to have this context. If we look into our region, I put a little, for my own learning and understanding, the region as we brought it together. And this is our region. And every one of them is unique, but together they are even more unique. And I'd like to refer to some of the speakers and Mr. Mansour earlier on, where he spoke about how the integration and the harmonization of the region is really critical. The starting point for me is the conference here. So when I was reviewing the conference, this is the purpose of the conference, correct? I'd like to redefine this agenda for next year. So the next 20-25 minutes is basically going to blow this up. Not that fostering an interaction is wrong, but what are the new questions to be asked? And the new question to be asked, number one, is, are we future ready? Do we have the right mindset for 10% growth, or are we just incremental 5-10% every year? That's a fundamental question. Do we have the talent? Do we have the understanding and the skills to be able, we can talk blah, blah all the time, but unless we have these questions, and do we have the desire and the readiness to be able to embrace this? This is the basis of the future of CAMCA. This is why 10% growth? Why not 10x? As a futurist, I will test that, and I will demonstrate to you exactly how that works. Okay, so in the spirit of the future, let me take you to the 13th of June, 2030. Would you like a future bulletin from a future? Okay, here we go. This, ladies and gentlemen, is not science fiction. This is science fact. It is happening today as we speak. And this is really what you need to be thinking about. Who is ready for this future in this room? One gentleman, 2 people are ready, and 99 are not. Or 5 people are ready. I don't believe any of us are ready, really, ladies and gentlemen, because we think we are, but when it comes and hits us, we don't really get it. Anyway, let's explore this one stage further. There was an interesting one there about eternal life. Aging in the future will be considered a disease. It's not about just a natural growing older. It's going to be a disease. So your kids are going to come to you and say, Mom, Dad, aren't you taking the pill? Aren't you doing your stem cells or whatever? Because you're looking older. But I'll tell you a funny story about marriage and how things in society will change as we go into the future. Marriage was created about 10,000 years ago to have a structure and a family environment and so on for children and so on. And at that stage, the average age, mortality rate, was around 30. So the guy was about 18, the girl was about 15, they got married, they had 8 or 9 children, most of them died anyway, and then they died, 30 years of age. Life was simple. Then it became 48, then 65. Today is around 80, 82 years of age. So if you marry at 30 and die at 80, 50 years of marriage together, hopefully with the same person. Looking forward, now you're going to 150, so you're going to be married for 120 years with the same person. So what's going to happen in terms of society? Children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, and everything just shifts. So the world is changing more fundamentally, even as something as basic as marriage. All right, let me look into the future. This image that I've put up here, I'm going to leave this image here for about 10 seconds, and you're going to tell me what you see, okay? Here we go. Here's this image. What do you see? Because you've seen it, right? And it's completely screwed my presentation. But when you see this, you don't see the dog, do you? My job today is to show you the dog, and once you've seen the dog, and dog is the future, and how CAMCA fits into that, and now you can see it completely. You cannot unsee it. And I think that is really the key as far as the future is concerned. Now, as we look into the future, and we'll discuss policy, government, all of these things, what is the single most important thing you think will define the future? Anybody? One word. What do you think is one of the most important human or business or policy elements which will define our future? Sorry? Emotional, getting closer. Health is very good, but not quite. Faith. Safety, okay, safety. All of these things are relevant. Nothing is wrong. But my view is, and I've been doing this all over the world over 500 times, my view is that the future is going to be defined by trust. Because there is a deficit of trust at government level, at policy level, at individual level, at company level. There is a deficit of trust. Followed very, very closely by truth and ethics. Because AI without truth and ethics is a disaster. It's a weapon of mass destruction. And you need truth and ethics. In the United States, there was a survey done on banks that only 28% of the people banking in the US say that they believe that their banks are fair and honest. Honest? 72% of the people feel banks are screwing them. That's the level of trust. Who trusts media? Nobody. And so on. So therefore, trust and truth becomes an integral factor in our future, because without that, there is no future. And last but not the least, if we don't have empathy and values, we have nothing. So as you look into the future, ladies and gentlemen, we can talk policy, we can talk process, we can talk incrementalism. Incrementalism will not get us anywhere. This slide will. So if you remember nothing from the last 2 days' conference, remember this. One slide of defining our future, then we are in good shape. Right, let's accelerate, let's look at the future. Why is this important? Look at that. 60% of the people trust robots to do it better than you. 82% of the people think that robots can be better than their managers. Go figure. That's the reason why we need trust, and there's fake news and all of these things happening. We all know, ladies and gentlemen, that the world has turned upside down. And in the past, and a lot of our region is still in the production area, while the world has moved into an information environment. That is how the world has changed. We all talk about digital transformation, and I heard several conversations around that. That's really important. It's not enough, because that drives societal transformation, which drives us as humans. This is the cycle. So any policy, any strategy, any plan that we make needs to be integrating all of these elements together. When I do a more traditional structure, this is New York City, Easter Day Parade, 1904, over 100 years ago. What do you see here? Lots of horse-driven carts and buggies, right? Do you see any cars? Any cars? 2, right at the back. Now, if you go to this guy here, a little guy in one of the farms of Kyrgyzstan, and say, what would you, here's $1 million, what would you like to produce for the future? What's he going to say? What is this guy going to say? Probably faster horses, because he doesn't know that. So we need to train the people, because 13 years later, not a single horse. And that's what's going to happen in our region. We have a unique opportunity to completely leapfrog rather than incremental growth. China in 1990 went from cash to mobiles, mobile cell phones for transactions. Today, 98% of the world's of China's financial transactions are on a mobile, on a cell phone. That's over $80 trillion. Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, all of them put together is 40 trillion. They are double that only on their cell phones. That's the shift. Why? Because they didn't get stuck with all of the compliance issues with banks, all of the regulators would just basically slow you down, throw them out, and leapfrog. Africa's done exactly the same thing. Anybody been to Kenya? Try paying cash at Starbucks for a cup of coffee. You can't do it. You need M-Pesa for that. They jumped right straight through. So we have the great opportunity in the CAMCA region to take a leap forward, not incremental steps forward. And that is me as a futurist. Now, as we look into the future, for the future of mobility, this is what's going to happen. Cars are going to change, solar energy. We've got a lot of sunshine. Where's the problem? Okay, so this is going to be our future as far as mobility is concerned. Our relationship with our cars is going to change. Why? Because our cars are not going to get us from point A to B, but it will be collecting data. So rather than it sitting at a valet or in a car parking lot, it'll be going around collecting data and getting information, which can then be used for various other things. So you have drone taxis, Hyperloop. To me, this region, we're constantly thinking about going around. I heard about logistical problems. One of the key big visions is to have a Hyperloop from China to Europe. What takes 3, 4, 5 weeks to go across, expensive over the Caucasus. What about if you have a Hyperloop in the next 20 years? You can get it from China to Frankfurt in a day. It will fundamentally change this region. That's how we have to think 10x. Not one step at a time, but over the next 20, 25 years, can we build a Hyperloop that is going to drive us? Everything is getting disrupted, right? Some things like energy, food, education, philanthropy, all of these things were stuck, right? Because we were just too slow and we were resisting. COVID came in, threw everything out. And now, everything can be disrupted. Now, there are several people in this room who are old enough to remember these brands. Remember them? What's important there? None of them really exist. Okay, they all died. Who remembers Kodak? Everybody. Okay, what business do you think Kodak was in, sir? What business was Kodak in? Printing photographs, incorrect. What is the core of their business? Source of the business. What was Kodak in? Yes, sir. Film? No. They used to do film also. Cameras? No, they used to use cameras, but that wasn't the core of their business. Sorry? Memories. This gentleman has got it. Memories and moments. Their core business was memories and moments, and they forgot it. They were the ones who actually invented the digital camera in 1976. And they were too arrogant, they had too much hubris, that they did not take it forward. Who replaced Kodak? Who replaced Kodak? Sorry, sir? Sony? No, incorrect. Sorry? Cell phone, something inside the cell phone that you use every day? No, iPhone is a cell phone, but there's an app in there. SIM card? No, app. Instagram. They are now capturing the modern memories and moments. Why? Because the cost of taking a photograph is zero. In the past, there was a cost of film and camera and product. Today, it's zero. So the marginal cost of production of an additional photograph is zero. And I'm giving this example because these are the kind of things we need to think about in our region. Where is the marginal cost down to zero? Secondly, we have thousands of photographs in our phones now. Our big problem is we can't find the damn things. Okay, so we need apps to find the photographs because the photographs are free. You see, this is how the world shifts. And this is how things are shifting in our world. This slide is probably one of the most important slides. We have an immune system. All of us have immune systems, right? Because immune systems block us from things happening in the future. But corporations and governments' immune systems are very, very strong. In other words, anything coming from outside, crazy people like me coming from outside, the first thing the government says is no, stop, can't do this. Why? Because of the reason. So I've been doing this 500-600 times all over the world. And I've collected all of the excuses from governments, from policymakers, from corporations. Please take out your cell phones and take a picture of the next slide, because you are going to get this all the time. And this is your challenge. The reasons for not to change. These are the reasons. Oh, it's too radical. Can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's contrary to policy. It needs a study, etc., etc. This is called a corporate and government immune system. And we get an immune system response almost every time we're doing something within that. Anybody know this? FOMO. Fear of missing out, right? Okay, I've created something new, and that's called FOBO, fear of becoming obsolete. How many people think they might become obsolete after seeing what robots can do? Okay? This is the new fear. This is the new thing that you guys need to be looking at and looking out for. Look at this beautiful image. What do you see? This is 2022. Beautiful SUVs, right? All white. They all look the same, but they're all different brands. For an organization and environment like this slide is really important. And the reason is this: strategic conversion. Groupthink. We're reading the same books, attending the same conferences, having the same use cases, having the same consultant. Guess what? Same propaganda. We get the same outcomes. You've got to start asking different sets of questions and engage a different conversation, because same conversation will give you the same results, and all of those will look like CAMCA countries. They all look the same. We need to find a different way to go beyond that. So therefore, looking forward, we look at, my mentor was also in my book, Professor Marshall Goldsmith. He kindly wrote the foreword. He's the world's #1 coach, CEO coach. And he said, what got you here won't get you there. Your law degree, your science degree, your engineering degree got you to this point. The ladder's broken, bridge is blown up. It's gone. So what do we do now? And this book was written about the most successful people in the Fortune 500, where he is coaching them. Because success has a problem, because you become arrogant and you think you've done it. Now it doesn't matter anymore. Past success doesn't matter as far as the future is concerned. Now let me address a few points regarding the future. Are we doing okay? You happy?
Yeah, very happy.
Is everybody good?
All good?
All right, thank you. Now let me take you to the future. I'll take you into 2050 and then bring you back close. I'd like to see a beautiful video. It's about 90 seconds long. It's a bit depressing, but I think you are mature people, and let me play this for you and then we'll unpack it. I produced this with my friend Chandran Nair in Malaysia. It's very sobering, isn't it? This is our reality. And we can fiddle around and do whatever we want to do, but this is what is real. So as we look forward, these are some of the big trends that you need to, which were identified. What I did was I said, okay, let's get into 2030, which is a little bit closer to where we are at the moment. 70 to 80% of the jobs that you are doing and your teams are doing will no longer exist in 2030. And our schooling system is not preparing us for the future. 30 to 40% of the work that we do will go to AI. And only 10 to 15% of the people in most boards at this point in time are technologically qualified and are socially qualified. They are all engineers and financial experts and so on. I think we need a new. This is the world in 2030 that we need to be looking at. Moving forward, one of the key comments I make is the future is faster than we think, and anybody who thinks it's future ready has probably got it wrong, because the mega trends that are shaping the future, and I'll whiz through it fast because it's fairly complex and I can explain, and there are literally hundreds of opportunities that come out of it. These are the 10 big mega trends that we are looking at as far as the future is concerned: materials, digital, all sorts of new things, and we have opportunities here. This is what we need to bring into CAMCA, jumping across and saying, what can we do? You know what is the country, the number one country in Europe in digital adoption? It's Estonia. None of the bigger ones. It's a small country. So there's no reason why one of the smaller countries or this region in total cannot lead this whole space. Huge opportunities, multi-trillion-dollar opportunities in all of these areas. And if you're not in any one of these areas or not using one of these areas, you're getting left behind. Whether you're doing agriculture or health or whatever, it doesn't matter. You need to find a way to tap into the creation of abundance based upon this. And you think everything is getting expensive. Actually, it's the exact opposite. Everything is getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper because of technology. It's creating abundance, ladies and gentlemen. And that is where we are at this point in time today. Photovoltaic, for solar energy. There's a company in Saudi Arabia, it's called Aqua Power. It's brought down the cost per kilowatt hour of solar energy to 1 cent per kilowatt hour. Near free. It's now a question of distribution and collection, and hopefully within the next 10 years, solar energy will be near free, and we have a completely new challenge and opportunity that we can look into the future. You want to know what jobs you'll be doing in 2030? Here an example. Lots of people take pictures. These are your new jobs. AI ethicists, robot manager, building drone operators, biogas people, personal data brokers, urban growers. These are the new jobs. These are the jobs that you will be doing. And we need to retrain ourselves both mentally and in terms of our mindset. I did this at COP28 last year, and one of our CAMCA countries is doing COP29 in Azerbaijan. I put this slide up. I was nearly thrown out of the country. This is what Dubai is going to look like on the current trajectory of growth and development. 61 to 63 degrees Celsius by 2050, 2055. And I put that image up because we have our properties there, our offices there, our schools there, our kids are there, okay? This is the green future that Dubai is now working on post-COP28. Is there a conversation here? What is this 1.5 degrees Celsius bullshit? This is it. Not incremental change. We need to fundamentally use the lens of green in every single decision we make. 10 years ago, digital was a department in IT. Today it's everywhere. Today, green is a product or a function somewhere in CSR or sustainability or net zero initiative. Nonsense. It has to be every single decision that you make. Has to be through the lens of green, because we need to do that. Because growth and profit will take us there. People, planet, purpose, prosperity, and one political statement, if you would allow me to make, please, with your indulgence, peace. We need the 5 Ps to build our future. And this is how we have to engage as far as we grow. I want to leave this image up there for a few seconds. This is the way you're going to get hit by new opportunities, new products, new services, new challenges. You'll be hit from places that you do not expect. And that really is the future, ladies and gentlemen, is build peripheral vision, not just looking forward, because this is what's going to happen. Okay, moving forward. Oh, sorry, presenting it wrong. Everybody knows about AI. A couple of elements on AI, and then the final elements on leadership, and then we'll close. Another 5 minutes or so. AI is as important not just as electricity, but fire, because it's fundamentally changing the way we are, correct? Let me just address a simple thing in productivity. If you're in the advertising or creative business, and it takes you to design this 5 hours and $150, AI can do it in 8 cents and in 1 minute. What's the conversation here? Nothing. So a lot of fundamental shifts are going on. One of the things, I don't have time, so I won't go into it in detail, but one of the things is bias. Does AI have bias? Yes? Is AI biased or not? Yes. Anybody, who says AI is biased? You're saying it's biased? Biased? Incorrect. Incorrect. AI is not biased. We are. AI is not racist. We are. AI is not, doing all the things. We are. It is our moral compass, ladies and gentlemen, that we need to be addressing, not AI, because the garbage we put in is the garbage it throws out. So let me give you an example to embed what bias in AI actually means visibly. Okay, so I did a little prompt, a poor person from diverse cultures. What do you get? What do you notice? They're all black. Then I said, oops, wrong. A poor white person, all black. This is how AI sees it. Poor person, black. That's bias. And for the women in this room, and our wonderful chairperson in this room, to Nazira, the next slide is really, really important. When you do a prompt, sorry, this slide is fine. When you do a prompt, CEO of a large company, what do you think you're going to get? All white men. There you go. But she's the chairperson of a company, highly respected. This is wrong. This is bias. This is what we need to shift as we look forward. So, are you feeling fear or hope? Hope? Really? Okay, good. All right, we put a little grandma in a Tesla car. And all we've asked her to do is not to hold the steering wheel. That's it. Okay? See what happens to her.
Oh, this car is coming. Oh, this car is. They'll just put me back for me control it. Oh, dear. I could never. Oh, where's it going? Oh, this is so scary. I couldn't do it. Oh, is the car coming? What is this? Oh, it's.
Okay, it's funny and it's sad, but what is happening here? Why is she screaming? Why is she scared? And I'm looking for one word. Why is she scared? No trust is one, but there's another word. She doesn't have hands on the steering wheel. Control. She's lost control. This is not the scream of an old lady because she's lost control of a car. This is a scream of the regulator when the telcos come in or crypto comes in. This is the scream of the governments when some new technology comes in. This is the scream of governments and society when technology and change comes in, ladies and gentlemen. We are losing control. We need a different mindset to be able to address the future as we go in. The last part of this segment is about, in all of this new stuff, we need new leadership, new solutions, new mindset, new growth, correct? So, in this environment, we're only left with one thing, and that is our heart and our minds. Ladies and gentlemen, in the book I wrote this, and I lead with this, that anything and everything that can be digitized will be. Why? Because it'll be 1,000,000 times faster and 1,000,000 times cheaper. But anything and everything that cannot be digitized, love, compassion, harmony, heart, spirit, soul, critical thinking, creativity, imagination, compassion, empathy, love, all of these things will be 1,000,000 times more valuable. That, ladies and gentlemen, is our future. We need to become more human, not more technological. We need to become more connected, not disconnected. We need to find ways to build our future and our societies with the human elements. Technology, to me, technology is like a horse. AI is like a horse. Bigger than us, faster than us, stronger than us. But we ride it. We get on the horse and we ride it. It doesn't matter if it's bigger than us. And that's the kind of shift that we need to do. So I'm putting together here a NASA study, which was done, just 2 slides, and we're done. Measuring creativity versus age. So do you think as we grow older, what happens to our creativity? Okay, here's a little girl, cute little girl. Do you think her creativity is medium or high? Very high. All over the world I go and I find this. Then we send them to school. We send our kids to school. What happens then? Creativity goes down to 50%. Then we send them to the best colleges and universities in the world, and guess what happens to creativity? Down to 25%. And us, ladies and gentlemen, we started as creative geniuses, and we are at a handsome 10%. We've dumbed ourselves down. We don't, too much habit, too much fear, too much screen time, too much fear of failure. All these kinds of things we are stuck. This needs to be reversed in some way. If it's not, we are stuck. We will not be creative anymore. And this is one of the key things that we have over our AI friends and so on. So, to finish this, let me finally get to leadership. Yes, this is another slide that everybody loves. So what are the future degrees? These are the future degrees. Do we see anything called political science here, or international relations, or accountancy? No, these are the new degrees. So when your kids come in and say, Mom, Dad, I want to do a degree in anthropology, congratulate them, you've done a good job, you've given them empathy. And rather than screaming and say you won't get a job, these will get you jobs, an accounting degree won't. So this is why this is important. Future leadership traits are not that you've been to Harvard or MIT or Cambridge. Nobody cares about degrees anymore. You need to have a different mindset and a different thinking set. These are the future leadership attributes for all of you, because all of you are leaders. And this is where the future is. But the most important thing right now, ladies and gentlemen, is courage. Courage to make decisions, courage to do different things, courage to have a new set of questions you need to be asking yourselves. We need courage as leaders. So in this spirit, this is the last slide, exponential times needs exponential changes. And this is a fable, a story about an eagle. And let me share this with you, and please just quietly immerse yourself into the emotions of what's going on, because that represents your life and the changes we have in front of us. So we all get old, don't we? And when we reach that stage in our lives, when we have to extend our life, what do? We are not strong enough. So the eagle can't hunt because its beak is broken. And the wings become heavy. And its claws becomes weak. Needs to make a decision at this point. Two choices. Adapt or die. Change or die. There's nothing in between, ladies and gentlemen, because it's going to die anyway. And it has to make this decision. But this decision is painful. So the eagle flies to the top of the mountain. And then it breaks its beak. Plucks out its wings. And then the beak grows back again, just like nails. Beaks can grow back and come up much, much stronger. We can be much stronger. And when that happens, everything else can start growing again. Our muscles become stronger. And this painful process lasts 150 days. Many change programs are like that. And at the end of that 150 days, with all of its self rebuilt and reinvented and rejuvenated, it takes its rebirth flight, and it flies into the future. So why should you use and choose change and transformation? Why would you not go into the future? Survival is not important. Thriving is important, ladies and gentlemen. This is our future at CAMCA. This is what we can do. We can actually fly into the future rather than incrementally get there one step at a time. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is our future. Thank you very much.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big applause. Thank you again, Tariq. It was actually today you fulfilled my dream. It was my long dream to bring Tariq to Bishkek. And I always proudly say that I have a friend, Futurist. And now, all CAMCA fellows, you have a friend, Futurist, on behalf of Tariq. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I believe that we run out of time. We are really sorry, but maybe audience is ready to bombard with the questions. If you have questions, we are ready to answer. Yes, please. No time? Okay, one more question. One question.
Sorry, I'm also not from the region. I'm not from CAMCA. I'm actually from Bangladesh, currently working in Bishkek. So that's why I'm invited here. Just want to say a couple of things. First of all, thank you. You know, as the moderator said, a brilliant presentation. It was great listening to you.
Thank you.
But a couple of observations, I would say, or a couple of my internal realization. You know, in your slides, there was a projection that there will be no diseases by 2029.
No what, sorry? Diseases?
By 2029, there will be no diseases. And, you know, the health system has modernized like anything. But just a couple of years back, COVID has shown us a very different picture altogether, you know?
Yeah.
So it's tricky sometimes to really predict the future. The second point that I really want to also highlight, a lot of this actually depends on how much we really know, you know. We are talking about, you know, the Mars and the moons and stuff. The world is made up of around 70% water. Human body, 70% water. Mm-hmm. In terms of oceans, we only know 5% of what,
Sure.
with the current knowledge. 95% we actually don't know.
Understood.
So, you know, that's probably will decide the future that we are forecasting is basically how much probably we know ourselves.
Thank you.
So
your observations are valid. The eradication of diseases is a prophecy from Ray Kurzweil, who's probably the number one futurist in the world and is part of Google. And what the world is working on is early diagnostics of disease. So if cancer can be diagnosed in stage 1 or 2, by definition, you can eliminate it. So even something as critical as pancreatic cancer and so on, there's a lot of work being done. Actually, one of them is in my book with Professor Vivek Vadwa, who actually, his wife died 3 years ago of pancreatic cancer, and he is now getting very close to early diagnosis. So this is aspirational. And I think it's important to have those kinds of aspirations. We have the technology, we have the tools, we have all of the quantum computing that's coming in to enable us to do that. You mentioned water, and you come from Bangladesh. Bangladesh is one of the high-risk countries when the water level rises. If we stay on the current trajectory, the water level will rise by up to 18 inches. Places like the Maldives and Chittagong and Alexandria and places, they will be mostly underwater. Which places will then become more important? The Central Caucasus region, the CAMCA region, which then becomes so important because we have land, we have height, we have sunshine, and we have growth. So the shifts that are going to happen, sir, are very much. Now, going back to water, we have not explored enough on our own planet. Personally, I feel that we should spend more money on exploring our own planet than going to Mars. That's a personal view. But the Apollo missions going into the world in the 1960s and 70s fundamentally changed the world. Do you know where our cell phone came from? It came from them. Motorola created the first cell phone at that point in time. So what a crazy idea and a crazy aspiration does is galvanize you and create something truly special. And, you know, a whole generation comes up with new sets of ideas and thoughts. So I think part of what my presentation today was to ask different questions, create some aspiration, and create a mindset shift for asking a new set of questions and bring about fundamental change in there, not out there. We change here, we can change everything.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your brilliant presentation. So take your time, dear participants and the guests, to network with our dearest friend, Tariq. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nazira.
So it's my pleasure now to invite our next panelist and announce about the next session, Beyond the Horizon. His Excellency Ambassador Matthew Brida.